I was just asked by Snapchat to prove my age to make sure that I was over 16. Here's the image. And this got me wondering, is the whole Australian law on banning under 16s from using social media any good? And should it be normal for companies to ask for your ID, or even worse, an image of your face, to verify your age in order to use social media, or pretty much anything on the internet?
Among Us in real life.
For some context, if you don't know, the Australian government recently passed legislation which is about to come in effect on December the 10th that will limit anyone under the age of 16 from accessing social media. I mean, anyone under 16 will no longer be able to own a social media account. While yes, under 16s will still be able to doom scroll and watch brainless short form content, they will no longer be able to hold an account on any social media. This includes Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, maybe Discord, I didn't check, but pretty much every major social media is getting that ban. And this sort of leans onto the Roblox and their whole age verification system that they've been pushing for a very long time now, because it sort of goes hand in hand. Snapchat asking me to verify my ID is practically the same as Roblox asking for my ID to verify my age, and it low-key sucks. I don't know why people or companies or heck even the government is normalizing this invasive breach of privacy. The fact that these massive corporations are asking for images of our face and using AI technology to estimate our ages seems like a little bit of an invasion of privacy, because you're putting your image, you're putting your likeness and your ID at jeopardy to these companies who you have to agree to their terms and conditions that you don't know what you're signing up to. You know, they can store your face, they can use your information, they can do a lot of shoddy stuff and you can't even do anything about it, you know. You're kind of forced by companies or even by the Australian government to sort of accept this kind of shenanigans. And this brings up a lot of negatives which I'll be talking about in a moment. But yes, I do have to acknowledge that the under 16 social media ban is, yeah, maybe it was needed. I'm not too sure. I'm not the person to talk about because I'm 17, by the way, so I'm not affected by this ban at all. I do understand the Australian government and their pledge to sort of, you know, curb this social media thing, because yes, I do understand that some people and some kids are affected by social media negatively, like they become depressed and they have mental issues and whatever. But under 16, that seems like a pretty high age to be limiting people. Fun fact, I had an Instagram account when I was 7 years old. Yep, 7 years old. And while yes, it was parent managed and only friends and families were following, still, I had an account at 7 years old, and look at where I am today. I'm not suicidal at all, so I don't see the issue. What I'm trying to say is that 16 is a pretty high and arbitrary number to draw the line at. Heck, even when I turned 12 or 13 years old, I understood and grew a little bit of maturity on how online internet things work, you know. I wasn't, you know, doing shitty things online. I knew what I was doing. So I just feel like 16 is a pretty high number, because there'd be some people, especially who are 15 right now, who are perfectly capable of using social media and are responsible about it, and yet they're being affected by this nationwide ban. And the second thing that I wanted to talk about is, again, the invasion of privacy and all that, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to get political or have divisive opinions because no one cares about that, even I don't. But I just feel like that this whole new technology of having to verify your age to use platforms and, you know, services like Roblox or social media, as a matter of fact, seems a little bit too much. It seems like this is crossing a boundary, because we all have an expectation of privacy. We're supposed to be, you know, kept after and be responsible. You know, we're all taught about stranger danger when we're at school. We're all taught about internet safety and how to act responsibly, yet we're uploading our faces to massive corporations. We're uploading our entire identification to massive corporations, yet you're arbitrarily signing up to their terms and conditions that you don't even know of. I mean, they can do whatever they want with your information. It's bad luck, you know. The most troubling part about all of this, which is why I'm bringing this up, is that these massive corporations could theoretically store your faces online and eventually sell them to third parties, and it could get into the hands of a bad person, like a scammer, for example. You know those stupid AI generated videos? Those could become so much more realistic now that these companies have people's faces, and that's why it's pretty scary, because you know these scams that are going around on the internet, they could become a lot more believable now that people's faces are now involved in all this. This is all speculative, by the way. None of this is concrete or none of this is real, but I'm just saying this could happen, which is why it's pretty scary to even begin talking about it. I don't know, this is just my opinion on the whole thing. Personally, for me, I just don't like how, this whole Face ID and verification system is becoming more commonplace now. I know Roblox was probably the first company to do this, but it feels a bit, it feels like we're backsliding into the fact that other corporations are also doing this, and even governments are mandating that corporations are doing this. It just feels like a massive step backwards towards, anything really, because we're meant to be progressing, but it feels like we're going backwards now, where we have to verify who we are and if we're old enough to use services. It feels like we're in the Bronze Ages again. I didn't say this in the video, but it feels like we're at an airport right now, like, going through customs and immigration. We have to present your ID and your face and verify all that, It feels like we're at a freaking airport, even though it's just social media after all. It's stupid. And while yes, I do understand this is all in the hopes of internet safety and people acting responsibly online, but I feel like the methods and solutions of ID verification or face verification is not the perfect solution, and it shouldn't be evolved upon. This clearly doesn't work. A lot of other people talks about using AI baby filters to bypass Roblox's face verification thing, which I don't know if it works, but if it works, that's very bad and very scary. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is not my decision, and I'm just providing my input and opinion on this. But let me know in the comments what you think about all of this, especially if you're an Australian like me. Tell me what you think about this whole social media ban for under 16-year-olds. I feel like it's a pretty horrible solution because you're banning, 10% of the population who've done nothing wrong in an effort to be more responsible and to be more accountable for things that happen online, which, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not being affected by this, so who cares? But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all of this. Hopefully this video was somewhat educational. I try to be a little bit smart for once instead of making brainless gaming videos. So let me know what you think about all of this. Yeah, bye. You know what's the really ironic part about all of this? You can go to Pornhub right now and not need to put in any identification to enter the website and watch some unholy videos. But in a week's time, you have to put an ID to scroll Instagram Reels. That's just plain stupidity. And even though I'm trying to make light of this situation, I do understand that this one piece of legislation will single-handedly affect the lives of millions of Australian kids. For the worst, probably, I don't know. But I feel like kids on social media should be held responsible by the parent and not by the government or by corporations at all. I feel like parents should be the ones acting responsible and taking care of their child while on social media instead of these corporations forcing people to verify their ID or whatever.